What's going on, guys? Today we're back with a new video, and in today's one I'm going to be giving my thoughts and opinions as to why the M16 and the FAMAS don't take any attachments in DayZ. So we'll first start off with the M16. The M16 was added back in DayZ 113, and it was added and it was meant to be a mid-tier rifle. It was meant to be pretty much a competitor for the SKS in a way. So if you found an SKS and M16, you'd have to think of which one you kind of wanted to take. And a lot of people were confused when it came to the M16 not having any sights, but I think there's kind of a reason for it. It comes all down to balancing in game. If you were to put sights on an M16, whether it be a red dot, a 4x or a 6x, it would make it pretty much like an M4 minus the full automatic. They probably opted for no optic on the M16, so you still have to go and search for that 5.56 weapon that can actually attach an optic, as in the M4. Imagine if you found an M16 at Zelenogorsk and you had a mag, ammo, and you could put an optic on it straight away. It would make you feel as if you already had the best gear in the game and you're not even halfway up, to the map. And you would lose that sense of grinding in game. DayZ is meant to be a game that you have to grind towards getting, the best loot in game. If you get it within, 20 minutes of spawning in, it kind of, ruins the fun of it in a way. DayZ isn't meant to be an easy game to play or an easy game to find loot, and it is meant to be hard and a bit of a grind and stuff like that. So I think that's why they done it. The M16 is a great mid-tier weapon. Put in the hands of the right person, it can beat an M4 in PvP in some certain situations. If you put a mid-tier gun with optics, suppressor and everything on it, it would instantly become one of the best guns out there, and it would make it super OP, and before long it would be patched and you'd be barely able to find the gun because they'd have to change the spawns of it. So it's pretty good the way it is. The iron sights on it are not the worst out there either, compared to the FAMAS. They're actually pretty good as well. So I think that's kind of why. It's just a good midfield weapon, and you still have to go searching for that 5.56 weapon in the M4 to go and be able to take a proper optic. Next one out there is the FAMAS. The FAMAS was released in update 114. I think there's a reason why the FAMAS can't take optics and suppressors. Number one, it has that insane rate of fire. Up close, you don't stand a chance with it. Even in medium range fights as well, it can be still pretty good depending on the person who is using it. If it was able to take a suppressor and an optic of any sort, it would literally be one of the most OP guns in the game. It's meant to be kind of difficult to use and, control recoil and be hard to see out of, the sights on it because of the fast fire rate. They have to balance it in some way. And if you were to put, a sight on it and an optic on it as well, it would literally become a laser beam. You wouldn't stand a chance against it. Especially if then it could add a suppressor to it as well. If you're at a distance, popping shots off with it and stuff, at certain ranges you won't be able to hear that at all, or it'll be very hard to actually pinpoint where it's coming from. And if you're up close to medium ranges with it, people would not be able to win any gunfights whatsoever. If the enemy had a FAMAS with suppressor and optics on it, they would die before they'd even be able to get a chance to fight, because especially with that rate of fire. So I think that's one of the reasons for it. Yes, it is very, very difficult weapon to find. You can only find it at heli crashes, I believe, and maybe the toxic zones if you're lucky, but I think that's why. It's just, it would be way too overpowered with it. And again, it's meant to be, DayZ's meant to be that kind of grindy game where you have to think about whether you want to take the FAMAS and stuff like that. I know a lot of people said it's a very good use as an SMG, even though it's an assault rifle. It's still very good as an SMG because the hip fire on it is crazy good, and the rate of fire especially is good as well. So yeah, if you were to put a scope and a suppressor on that FAMAS, it would literally just melt everything around it. And as well, it also gives a kind of a cool factor to it in a way, is if you hear that FAMAS being fired, you will know it's a FAMAS, and you'll actually kind of think to yourself, do I want to run towards the shots and see if I can actually get the chance to get a FAMAS as well? So it's a bit of a risk picking it up in certain situations as well, and I kind of like that about it. And as well, with the rumored AUG meant to be coming back in 115, again not confirmed, it seems like from the pictures that we have in game that it will be able to take an optic, and I'm assuming it would be able to take a suppressor, but who knows yet. And if it can, it's probably going to be a very rare tier 4 weapon and going to be very powerful, just like the M4. I'm assuming the reason they would add the AUG back, so it would be a contender to the M4 in terms of, you know, PvP, rate of fire, you know, attachments we're able to attach to it. So it's going to be interesting to see what that's going to be like. But again, we don't know if it's coming back yet. I hope it does, and we'll just have to wait and see what it's going to be like. But yeah, they're kind of my reasonings as to why, you know, the M16 and the FAMAS don't have certain attachments on them. You could also say for the LAR as well. If that was to take a suppressor, with it being 308 and being able to also have, you know, a 6x scope on it, it would literally just be insane. It'd be crazy powerful. But yeah, that's pretty much my reasons for it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. As usual, some people might have different opinions on it, but they're just my ones. We've never been given any official confirmation as to why, you know, there's no certain attachments on it, but we'll just have to keep guessing, I guess. And yeah, until then, I should catch you guys next one. So peace out for now.